Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to this Words of Wisdom Wednesday, where we take another look at leadership insights from the Bible. Now, whether you're a person of faith or not, the recorded words in the Bible, documenting over 6,000 years of human history, give us some insights into good leadership, bad leadership, poor leadership, and great leadership, and the lessons we can learn from each. These lessons, recorded in this 6,000 years of human history, give us an opportunity to see effective leadership versus ineffective leadership, and are practical and applicable even today. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, we're in the book of Exodus, the second book of the Bible, part of the Torah, the laws that we see read in the nation of Israel as part of Judaism. And we're studying the life of Moses, one of the principal characters in the book of Exodus. Exodus chapter 15, verse 1. The Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Now, you may say, John, what kind of leadership insight can we get from this verse? Let's put it into perspective. Understand that Moses and the Israelites had just fled bondage, that they had been enslaved in the land of Egypt for many, many, many years. As a result of the conflict that ensued between Moses and Pharaoh and God's intervention with the plagues that struck the land, the Israelites were finally permitted to leave. They had just crossed through the historic Red Sea story, and they were now on the other side of the Red Sea. The sea had closed back, separating them from their enemy. And as a result of that, they felt free for the very first time. As a result of that, what did they do? They threw a party on the beach next to the Red Sea. Now, what's the applicable lesson for us today? Good leaders, just as Moses did and the Israelites did, good leaders acknowledge success. Moses and the Israelites had just seen a successful outcome to them fleeing from the land of Egypt. A good leader is going to recognize and acknowledge successes along the way as the team is moving towards goals or objectives that have been set for the organization. Good leaders understand that what gets rewarded gets repeated, and by recognizing and acknowledging success, honoring and celebrating the wins, what you celebrate, you get more of. Now, let's continue on in Exodus 15, verse 22. Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, where they had just celebrated this win, and they went into the desert of Shur. For 3 days, they traveled in the desert without finding water. Now, I think one of the interesting aspects here, and it's not the leadership area I want to point out from this, but notice after they had a success, that success and the energy that came from that allowed them to be able to go into an unfamiliar area, knowing that they were going to need the wind to look back on as they faced troubling times. Our leadership insight is what? Not only did they celebrate the wins, once the win was over, they were now in uncharted, unfamiliar territory. They were venturing into an area they had never been before. And as a result of that, they were going to face challenges they didn't even know were there. Because when you go into a new area or you try to experience something new, you don't yet know what you don't know. So whenever you're going into something new or you're going somewhere new as an organization, understand this. The unfamiliar, the uncharted is always going to have with it opportunities for challenges to appear because you don't know what you don't know. Good leaders also understand that growth happens in uncomfortable places. And in those uncomfortable places where challenges arise, because all of a sudden you discover you didn't know what you didn't know and you didn't prepare for it, it's through overcoming those challenges, facing those obstacles, and getting the wins that you can then go back and celebrate. That's where growth and maturity happens within each individual and within the organization. Now, let's continue on in Exodus 15, verse 23 and 24. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That is why the place is called Marah, which literally means bitter. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, what are we to drink? Now imagine you're the leader leading hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. We don't know the number of people, but it was a massive group of people that Moses was leading into the desert where they needed water not only for the people, but also for their livestock. And there was no potable, drinkable water available in the desert. They began to grumble and they begin to complain. So the leadership insight is what? There will always be those within an organization that at the first sign of trouble or difficulty, they're going to grumble and complain. Some are going to want to quit. Some are going to want to go back to the way things used to be where everything was comfortable and familiar. Understand growth happens in that uncomfortable place where you have to learn something new. Some people are unwilling to go through the challenges of life to learn the lessons those challenges want to teach us. And as a result of that, people want to blame the leader when things aren't going well, there's trouble ahead, or they are experiencing discomfort in some way. Now, good leaders understand that oftentimes people are simply frustrated with the process. They're going through this process of learning and it's uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar, it doesn't feel good. But they understand that if they can get to the other side of this, the people will learn a valuable lesson and they will mature and grow as individuals and as an organization. But a good leader is always going to accept the blame and accept the responsibility, but is going to work towards bringing a solution that allows the team to keep moving forward. Now, Exodus 15, verse 25. Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. Moses threw it in the water, and the water became fit to drink. There the Lord issued a ruling and instruction for them and put them to the test. So, what do we take from Exodus chapter 15? We've seen that leaders celebrate the wins with those they're leading because celebrating the wins encourages people to go get more wins. They understand that when you're going somewhere new, there's going to be challenging times. And when you get into uncharted, unfamiliar territory and you don't know what you don't know, maybe something arises that you haven't prepared for. That's where good leaders pivot, understanding there are going to be people that grumble and complain and want to quit. But the vast majority of people, if they're committed to the leader, they're willing to move forward. And right now it's frustration with the process until they get to the finish line on the other side. Last point I want to make looking at verse 25 is this. Sometimes problems have to be solved in an unconventional way. Now, for Moses, it was finding a particular piece of wood and throwing it into the water, and miraculously, the water was made potable and the individuals could drink it without being sick. Not every solution is immediately available. They looked around for water, they couldn't find it. The water they did find was not drinkable. There's not another solution immediately visible and available to the leader. So sometimes a leader has to think outside the box. But this is where good leaders step up and they seek guidance and advice. You see, Moses turned and he prayed to God for an answer and got the answer that he needed. Good leaders are going to seek guidance and advice from other knowledgeable, wise people because a great idea comes from a number of good ideas. And sometimes thinking outside the box is the only way that you can solve a problem. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's leadership lesson from the Bible. Now, if you're a fan of leadership as I am, I want to encourage you to check out my video channels, YouTube and Rumble. The channel is Be a Black Belt Leader. That's Be a Black Belt Leader, YouTube and Rumble. On there, you'll find a variety of lessons. My podcast is there. Success tips are there. These leadership insights from the Bible is there and more. Leadership insight, faith-based and traditional leadership-focused, personal growth and development focused content on those two video channels. You'll also be able to listen to me on Spotify and other podcast channels. The podcast is Black Belt Leadership on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all the major channels, you'll find Black Belt Leadership, the podcast. Now, if you are a person of faith, let me encourage you to visit my website, Be a Black Belt Leader. In the courses area of my website, you'll find an opportunity to subscribe to an email series called Top 10 Leadership Lessons from the Bible. It is an email series free of charge, gives you an opportunity to take a look at historical figures from the Bible and the leadership lessons we learn from them. And while you're at my website, Be a Black Belt Leader, let me encourage you to check out the other free and paid content that's there. In particular, let me point you to my #1 book in 2020 that was on the Amazon Top 100 for over 6 months, Black Belt Leadership 101. The 10 essential character qualities to become a black belt leader in life. You can purchase that book directly from beablackbeltleader.com or amazon.com, and also on the website if you want to go deeper in learning how to be a better leader. There is a master class that is available with 50 videos, 50 downloadable audio files, and 11 worksheets to walk you through the elements of becoming a black belt leader. And while you're at the website, let me encourage you to check out the Contact Us area where you'll find access to all my social media channels, where Monday through Friday, each week, I post tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become a better version of who you are and what you do as you discover, develop, and deploy your own black belt leader within. I also publish a weekly newsletter on Substack and LinkedIn. You're welcome to subscribe to those as well. Hey, let me leave you with this. Everybody's leading someone somewhere right now, even if the only person you're leading is yourself. So don't be a leader, be a black belt leader, and live your life with black belt excellence. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.